This piece can be worn back to pant on someone who identifies as a man.
Inside the world's first gender-free store, the retail front in the gender revolution.
My name is Jamie. I use they, them, their pronouns.
So what about our schools? Are they ready?
Over half of transgender and gender nonconforming students are unable to use their preferred name or pronouns in a school setting.
Meet Jamie number 2.
So hi, I'm Jamie. I like skateboarding.
Why does skateboarding feel so good?
Because it doesn't require words, and you don't need to put any words to it.
We are all going to dance in the African style.
And introducing Javi, a poet, rapper, composer, and big brother.
How are you feeling about the show? I think I'm nervous because I know a show about sexuality and gender is like really taboo to do in a middle school right now.
This week, the stops along the way in the journey through gender self-determination. If you're carrying high, it's a girl. Low means a boy. Craving pickles, well, paint the nursery blue. But if you gotta have 2 scoops, go millennial pink. The ultrasound technology was first used for clinical purposes in the mid-1950s. It wasn't until well into the 70s that the now ubiquitous images clued parents in to the sex of their babies, with a 95% accuracy rate at the 20th week. But when it comes to gender, seeing isn't always believing. A 2014 Time magazine cover story heralded the transgender tipping point. Well, 4 years and a Caitlin later, the gender reveal party is all the rage. Colored balloons, dyed cakes, tire smoke, any number of ways to gender a baby before its first breath. It's the last real surprise you get as an adult, so a person could be forgiven for going a little overboard. But do genitals decide gender? Sex is determined by a biological roll of the dice, where each parent contributes 22 chromosomes plus 1 sex chromosome. Double X delivers girls, while XY makes boys. But gender is a synthesis of personal, cultural, and societal perceptions of sexuality. The mobile dating app Tinder boasts 3.7 million paid subscribers who can self-select from 37 gender options, including two-spirit, gender-fluid, androgynous, and neutral. On the other end of the gender spectrum is a vocal group proclaiming there are only 2 genders and that the gender revisionists are ruining everything from the toy aisles to restrooms in Alaska, Colorado, Florida, Massachusetts, Minnesota, Missouri, Nevada, Texas, Wisconsin, and North Carolina. Now, we'll leave those decisions to the voters and the courts, but maybe the following stories will help inform your position as we go in on gender. In New York City, on the last Sunday in June, Fifth Avenue is the rainbow-striped center of the universe. A colorful celebration born of a dark incident, where patrons at Stonewall Inn in Greenwich Village revolted against violence and persecution by the police, giving birth to the modern-day gay liberation movement. Nearly 50 years later, that movement has evolved into a full-fledged gender revolution, right down to the clothes on our backs.
So this is one of the pieces that we are currently selling from my brand here. This piece can be worn back to pants on someone who identifies as a man, but can also be worn very versatile with just one easy thing of like a belt to create the versatile tunic and turn it into like a dress for a woman if they were to choose to wear this piece.
I'm Christina Zervanos, director of the Fluid Project, the world's first gender-free store. Fluid is spelled with a PH because the PH is meant to identify the balance of masculine and feminine, and project is realizing the idea that this is an ongoing project and the gender revolution is exactly that. And we are just here to be a safe space and a community center to support that idea. In a dark day of political gloom and doom, we want to take away from that negativity and really offer language that makes people feel good and feel at home and feel, again, in a safe environment.
The exciting thing right now is that there's a movement happening, and the movement is about gender and how gender is expressed through identity. And the goal of the Fluid Project is to participate in the movement in a way that we can create a space for people to come together and really unite in the idea that gender's over, essentially, not grounded on, you know, the binary strictly male or female, but about a community and a world and society that's basically gender-free.
I'm Emma Leggett, and I'm an artist and the designer behind Official Rebrand, which is my non-binary label that transforms clothing that people have discarded and repurposes them free of gender constraints and gives them a whole new life. The goal of the whole project is about challenging expectations and letting people explore their full potential as opposed to limiting them or telling them what they're supposed to like or what they're supposed to do or who they're supposed to love.
Changing clothes is easy. Changing minds is another battle, particularly when it comes to the educational front.
We absolutely are in the midst of a gender revolution, and I think the end of it is actually sooner than we realize. My name is Jamie. I use they, them, their pronouns. I'm the education associate here at GLSEN, which is the leading organization fostering safe and affirming environments for K-12 schools. So over here we have our research team, which publishes a biennial National School Climate Survey. This is our map of our chapters. We have 39 functioning chapters and about 4 steering committees.
So I was struck by something on the website.
Okay.
GLSEN describes itself as a movement of action takers and change makers. Mm-hmm. What's the action and the change?
So GLSEN focuses on what we call our 4 supports. And that is inclusive and comprehensive school policies, that is supportive educators, it's inclusive curriculum, and it's student-led clubs. And so in our research we see that when those four supports are present and active in schools, the performance of all students go up, the inclusivity of all students go up, and just the general school climate increases.
So, GLSEN has 49 chapters across the country, but there is also a broader network of individuals working to make gender non-conforming young people feel safe and affirmed. I don't think that I've ever spoken with a gender identity justice educator. It's a hell of a job title.
Well, it's not my job title. It's what Ted Med decided to call me. But I have become kind of that person right now in my field, and I didn't choose it. I think just the type of work that I've done has helped carve that out. It's creating these spaces for people to come forward and identify however they want and even change that from day to day.
So that would beg the question, how do teachers negotiate that shifting ground that seemingly changes from week to week?
I just put a pilot together. I interviewed 12 trans and gender non-binary youth in New York City, and I have a documentary on that.
With an estimated 150 to 200,000 self-identified trans youth in schools, we have a lot of work to do. But you can and will change those stories.
I just hope that kids can feel comfortable in their school, and that I think that someday that's gonna be how it is for everyone.
Everybody should feel that they matter, that they're cared about, and that they're loved. You know, when we look at the students that are leaving schools who are gender non-conforming and trans or gender complex, it's because the school isn't speaking to them. And what's happening then is we are creating a population of people that are suffering. when we're not attending to their needs.
In our state snapshot of New York state experiences of school climate for LGBTQ students, we actually see that 3 in 5 transgender students are actually prohibited from using the restroom that matches their gender identity. And similarly, over half of transgender and gender nonconforming students are unable to use their preferred name or pronouns in a school setting, and that's in the state of New York. So I think it's important to remember just like the basic things that young people, transgender young people need, such as using their names and pronouns, using the facilities that match their gender, are things that aren't currently being done everywhere in New York City, everywhere in New York State. So just creating those very basic forms of equality, forms of access for transgender students is really important.
And we need to wake people up. You know, we are in a gender revolution, and the youth are changing right now. They're changing so fast and so rapidly. I don't want to ever see a student take their life because school doesn't speak to them or society doesn't speak to them. That is unacceptable.
Do you have a message that maybe you would have liked to heard when you were a kid?
We get to self-determine our identities, and that is what's so important. Each and every person has a right to self-determination.
While the rest of the world navigates the shifting landscape of pronouns, a 20-something from South Brooklyn is shredding misconceptions about what it means to be trans.
So hi, I'm Jamie. I like skateboarding and also my girlfriend. And pretty much it, because I hate everything else. I've had a stutter for my entire life. And I got a computer for the first time when I was 6 or 7. And typing has been like my main way of like wanting to communicate for my entire life, because it's the only time in my life in which I actually am fluent. I've had the most intimate conversations of my life over text message because I can actually talk. And a lot of people don't get that. And that's another reason that, like, I spent a lot of my life alone, including in skateboarding, is because, like, kids are mean. Kids are mean about things like that. love it here.
That's why I like to skateboard as much as I like it, because I can do it alone and I don't have to necessarily speak because I can just skate, and people know a lot about me based on how I skate. They're like, oh, this chick has a surfing style, that's cool. And I don't have to explain that to anyone because it's already there. And they know the kind of skating I'm into and what I like and who I like, and I don't have to explain any of that stuff because it's just all out there in how I skate. And that's why I like it so much, because it doesn't require words, and you don't need to put any words to it. It's its own language. That's why I like skateboarding so much, because I can be quiet and also loud without having to open my mouth. And that's what I'm into. There you go. There you go. You got what you wanted? Heat. Bitch, wake up. It's like, and you live where, and you're from where, and you displaced whom? So who's really a bad person? I'm just wondering. Hi, baby. Let's go.
So beautiful.
You're so beautiful.
Good job. We're in the middle of a skate park. Everyone right here.
Everyone right here.
JP's journey of self-discovery took them from isolation to acceptance. Javi's search was a collective effort, one that's being relived under stage lights.
Hogwarts, Star Wars, all the same to me, but the little men in that golden box, well, they looked like me, at least a little or a lot. They weren't pale-skinned and blue-eyed. They were little yellow guys on the inside. My abuela handcrafted me into a weapon of mass destruction when she taught me how to read at the age of 3. Destroying stereotypes of what little black and brown boys are thought to be. But when all you read about is cis white men in their glory, and look up from these naptime stories to see classrooms without kids that look like you begin to wonder if conventions are crafted from truth. True, every teacher I had taught me I could be whatever I wanted. But when every teacher you have has the privilege to flaunt it, I thought it'd be that their dreams are right there in their pocket. So, I always perform with a shit ton of jewelry, and this my brother got me, but honestly most of it is my mom's, and I'll just raid her closet. Adjectives were something that always scared me when they didn't come out in mouths like mommies or poppies, because I had yet to discover a perception of myself. So I looked for the truth in everyone else. Found I was a faggot before I was gay. We are all going to dance in the African style. If you don't know how to dance, I will teach you, my brother. Abuela, teach me how to teach with your love. No puedo hacerlo if you slip above. Did you hear that? That was Spanish off my tongue. It lives in me like the lullabies you sung, and it will forever stay young. Forever stay young. So how are you feeling about the show?
Like any anxiety or anything like that?
I'm pretty nervous. I think more nervous than the actual show.
Why?
I think I'm nervous because I know a show about sexuality and gender and all of these things is like really taboo to do in a middle school right now, but I feel like those are the people that need to see it most.
No, I think they'll be good.
What time is it? One second, we gotta go.
Javi, it must be weird for you, like, because I know like Glenfield was kind of hard for you, and like going back.
Glenfield was hard. I was nervous about going back, just knowing how tough time I had with the kids back there, and bringing something that's like so close to home, like about us, especially with Ale being there. But I think I'm also like, I really wanted to do well. Like I think it'll, to kind of not fix my memories of Glenfield, because Glenfield was what it was for Glenfield, but to be like, I can be proud and gay in this school.
I always forget like that I was so out in middle school.
I was not. I was very in the closet. I think it was more of like, wow, like Santi was so free and happy in middle school. Why was it such a dark time for me? Like why did I let it become such a dark time? Yo, you're wanting to send me your latest bars though?
I'm working, perfecting it, bro.
Go for it.
Right now?
Go for it.
You're bugging.
I'm so serious.
You first.
You already heard my bars.
Let me think of something. Yo, I got all the honeys, cause I got the money. She think I'm super funny.
Ooh.
You look like a bunny.
Ooh.
Bomb session.
Damn.
Your shoes raggedy. Your lips crusty. Your hair musty.
Damn, we're gonna just
your
go
armpits dusty.
But I wanted Alejandro to grow taller than I did. So I fed him the lessons that Santi taught me, that assumptions would be made about who he would be because of the sexuality of his older brothers made others think Ale was one and the same. But Alejandro is different. You see, he's always known that people can sharpen some words like they're sticks. Can you try painting these?
I got you, bro.
Okay. So when kids hit him with the jeers that he liked it because he had two older brothers that were fond of it, he said, "Bitch, you wish you could make me feel smaller. I'm addressing the brothers you think made me gay, but ain't nobody made me any single way. And all the boys you think I'm bringing in my bed are just the closeted thoughts you got trapped in your head. So instead of trying to make me feel smaller, love yourself like I love my brothers. It'll make you feel taller." And with that, my brother taught me how to fight. With words of love, showed me I had to write. There's little Javi right there. Scrubby scrub. I know, look at that. It's a jazz number. Oh my god. Yeah. I know.
Yeah, alright.
So, Javi, would you like to lead us in 3 breaths?
Yes.
His name is Alex.
Let's breathe us in and breathe out some love, alright? Ready to breathe in? I love you guys so much.
I love you. All right.
This is Pato Pato Maricon. Enjoy.
Look, we know gossiping's a bad thing to do, but it ain't gossiping if it's the truth. Hola, porfa, dímelo. What you know
close your books, but open your minds, though. This new kid got a fresh new flow. Pay attention, I'ma show you how it goes. 'Cause being who you are doesn't change the length of miles, or the minutes and hours, or the speed of the flowers. That will keep on growing no matter what you do. So why be somebody else when you could just be you? When you could just be you? When you could just be you? Helping me open my eyes.
Thanks for going in on Gender with us. We'll continue to reveal the stories of Brooklynites wherever they live. If you want to catch up on past episodes, check us out online at youtube.com/BRIC TV. You ready?
Yeah.